pay a premium to enjoy the void space that comes along with this penthouse unit. This entire you have to pay a premium to enjoy the void space that comes along with this penthouse unit. This entire project.
Something that's very interesting is that on this particular step, which is step number 1, driveway drop-off point, you have a gym. So we're gonna head in. Let's go.
Mission control. We have
You have to pay a premium to enjoy the void space that comes along with this penthouse unit. This entire project.
Something that's very interesting is that on this particular step, which is step number 1, driveway drop-off point, you have a gym. So we're gonna head in. Let's go.
mission control. We have liftoff.
Doing a live episode today on Altura EC because of time constraint towards the e-submission date as well as the balloting date. And of course, by our audience request, we have decided to do live right now in our PLB studio. And I have Alfred and Wayne with us. We're going to go through a quick, I wouldn't say quick, I would say like a condensed but really effective kind of review together with you on this new launch studio review series. So let's go.
Let's go. All right, let's do it.
pay a premium to enjoy the void space that comes along with this penthouse unit. This entire project.
Something that's very interesting is that on this particular step, which is step 91, driveway drop-off point, you have a gym plus. So we're gonna head in. Let's go.
Mission control. We have liftoff.
Alright, so welcome to our new launch studio review series. Today we're doing something very special, and we are recording live right now for you on one of the upcoming EC launch called Altura. And of course, because of I think time constraint due to the e-submission deadline as well as the balloting deadline as well. And I think some of our audiences are asking whether can we do like a condensed review version for that so that they can quickly make a decision. And just to share with you, if this is your first time joining us on our new launch review series, this series is being posted on our PLB Insights YouTube channel. And what we do is that we usually go through site plans, floor plans, as well as key project facts, and we also give some of our key recommendations on certain stack facings, floor plan layouts based on different bedroom types. And take note that today's episode is not a sponsored episode. It's really based on our own opinions and research. And with us, I have Wayne, who is in charge of our new launch series. We also have Alfred joining us for the first time.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Alfred here.
All right, so we're going to kickstart to talk about maybe the location first. So for those of you who are very interested in especially the Tengah area, and this is of course an EC launch that is not bearing the Tengah address, but I would say that it's just about one street away, which is at Bukit Batok West, near to the Bukit Gombak MRT. So it's called Altura. It's going to be launched pretty soon. So if you're keen in this part of Singapore, in the OCR region, and bearing the fact that there's not a lot of EC launches this year in 2023, and I think there was also like a recent article, Wayne and Alfred, right, that has I think like increased a lot of like popularity among ECs because I think there's been some research done in the fact that some of the profit margins made by EC first-hand owners
on the screen
are definitely one of like the highlights. So maybe Wayne, you can bring us through on the location and some of the key project facts first.
Sure. So in fact, this is actually the only EC, in fact, is going to launch in the year of 2023 among the rest of the other 43 over new launches, right? Altura is the only EC that we're going to see in the year of 2023. And as what Melvin has mentioned earlier on, this is located along the Bukit Batok West Avenue area. So this is actually made up of 6 blocks, 15 stories high. There's a total of 360 units. So if you know about ECs, you do know that generally you won't see a lot of different type of like units mixed. So the ECs are generally mainly for family own stay. So the last EC in that area was in fact launched last year. That was Copen Grand. It was done very well by CDL. In fact, during the launch day, they sold fairly, I would say, a lot of units on the first day of launch. So we feel that this particular project of Altura, located along the Bukit Batok West Avenue area, you get pretty much a good, I would say, location, because it will be, according to Alfred, you mentioned that this is one of the only new launch EC for the past 20 over years.
Yeah, the last
Minimally,
one.
at least 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're going to get a very good sizable land, probably about 12,000 plus square meters. You get a lot of facilities right there, but the standard ones will be like your tennis court, your 50-meter swimming pool. You get pretty much one car park lot per unit, which is quite rare. In fact, this year, all the new launches, you pretty much get about 80% car park lots to number of units. Some of them is even lesser if it's close to MRT station. But for this particular unit, you get 364 car park lots, which includes 4 electric car charging points, as well as also 4 accessible lots. Yeah. So estimate TOP for this project will be in first quarter of 2027. Yeah, which is pretty much the pretty standard kind of like TOP kind of like deadline for the new launches this year.
Right. Maybe when you can blow up the master plan for us a little bit, the one that shows that actually is side-by-side plot with another EC launch that might be upcoming in the future.
Right. So this is the one.
Yeah. Sorry, Alfred, just now you mentioned about the largest as in the last 20 years. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? What is that about?
So according to some of the research and looking at the surrounding, the last condo, new launch condo that was launched in the Bukit Batok area was at least 20 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So therefore, this Altura is really one of the new condo that a lot of HDB upgrader, they are very familiar with the West and especially in the Bukit Batok. This is something that they really look forward to.
Right, so it's like a refreshing project in this vicinity. And I think also what's interesting is that apart from this, Wayne, you actually just now pointed out before we go live, right, is that the next plot of EC, who will be launching that plot?
CDL.
Right. So, and plus the very fact that, let's go to the Straits Times article just now, we talk about like how many new homes are going to be.
Is it the good this one?
No, the other one.
This one.
Okay, so let's go deep dive into some of that.
You want to go to the article?
Yeah. Okay, especially that line that yes, this is the one. Okay, so there's going to be like 42,000 new homes, 30,000 HDB, 12,000 private housing unit. Out of which, actually, if we refer back to the headline, 18,000 BTO has already been launched. Yeah. So if we were to go back to that article, where you look at 12,000 private housing units, actually, if we just take an average, let's say per plot of, let's say, government land sales, whether it's an EC or whether it's like a new launch, if it's going to be averagely at about 600 units, although this development at Altura is only about 300 plus, which plus the very fact that it has like one-to-one parking, it has 60 bicycle lots, it has a tennis court. I think it's going to be less dense, but it actually is above our moat analysis threshold that we hope that most of the time performing projects are at least having 300 units in that development, because you want to have the very nice buoyancy of volume kicking in once it hits its MOP date for an EC. So when we combine all these factors, if I take 12,000...
I've done it for you.
Oh, you done it for me? Okay, great. I divide by... I want to bring out my calculator. If I divide by 600 units average, that's going to be 20 projects.
Right.
And this is the second project.
Yes.
Right. And what might happen in future? I mean, like, averagely, how much was Copen Grand sold? It was like 100% taken up already, right?
Grand, I've done an analysis on the numbers. On average, Copen Grand PSF is trending around the range of 1,003. Around the range of 1,003. So, of course, the lowest end spectrum of the PSF will be in the 1,001 mark.
Right.
So, Copen Grand, of course, you do have your 2+ study, and then we'll come to that later on. But if you're going to look at just 3 bedroom, 4 bedrooms, and 5 bedrooms, you're looking at pretty much about 1,003 average kind of PSF pricing.
Right.
Yeah.
So, let's say for Altura, based on, I mean, what we look at on some of the research tools, right? Their break even is probably about 1,100 plus.
Right.
Then if we mark up by maybe about 20% margin, probably it will be launched at about 1,400 plus minus.
So of course we use EcoProp to look at it.
HProp, right?
Yeah, HProp. Sorry. Then we're looking at the break-even price of 1,186. So this is break-even pricing. So once you do up at about 20% of the marketing costs, add to that, we will be looking at average PSF of 1,004.
Right.
Which we think that's correct pricing right now for this EC Altura. So if you look at the price of Copen Grand, there's about 1,003 PSF, and then now this Altura at 1,004 PSF. You do see that there's already $100 increased for people who couldn't get Copen Grand, and then now they are looking at Altura. So this is the price that they will be pretty much going to pay for it.
So what we're trying to share is that this is a new town. It's almost the same size as Bishan. It's a little bit like how Punggol was actually launched 10 plus 20 years ago. And of course, I think one other kind of parameters that we can actually compare to will be Canberra as well. Canberra is like a new town. It's in between Sembawang and Yishun. Right. But it has been performing well. The HDB's BTOs that has hit MOP, they actually see profit margins. And then when you look at the ECs, like example, Brownstone now is already asking at about 1,003 plus 1,004 in terms of its asking price, because it just hit its MOP this year. Visionaire has an MOP as well. Right. So I think what is going to happen is that this Altura is the second out of 20 odd projects. There's I think a strong relation to that first mover advantage, right? Yeah. What do you think, Alfred, of this? In terms of the location as well as like coming in as the first mover on this part.
So for all new launches, people always love this idea of first mover advantage, right? Because the earlier you go in to enter into the game, the earlier it is, because like all new launches, there will definitely be a tendency of increasing in the starting PSF for every new launches. So I think that is the first thing that we can consider. The second thing is that in terms of location, there is definitely a lot of the upcoming BTO that is surrounding this Altura as well.
Right.
So whether we are talking about specifically at the Bukit Batok area as well as the fringe of the Tengah area, there are plenty of it coming up. So when we look at this kind of a suburb locations, whenever if you are the Westie, most likely you will always be a Westie.
Right.
Right.
And
Likewise,
Alfred, are you a Westie?
I am a Westie.
How long have you stayed there?
33 years.
Oh my goodness. What do you love about the West?
I love about the West because all my friends and family are there.
Okay. All right. So this, I think maybe we can term this as the familiarity effect. Is
The
that
familiarity, yes.
similarly? I mean, I grew up in like the northeast part of Singapore. My families are there.
Yeah.
My wife is from there as well. It's like we will never move out of this area because like we're so comfortable, right?
Exactly.
Like even if people who grew up in the east, they will always prefer the east. If you somehow you like the north, you want to live back in the north because your kids are also like in schools there and all that kind of stuff. Unless you're aiming for like some of the schools in the core central region,
Right.
Which then brings us to the next topic is that ACS International is moving to Tengah. Maybe Wing, you can talk a little bit about that for us.
Yep. So I mean, of course, there's these news articles of ACS moving towards there. So where is ACS? So if we're going to pull out this location map,
Right.
so you can see that right now, this is where my mouse is circling. This is where Altura is going to be. Then, of course, your neighboring plot of land will be your upcoming, the new EC that's going to be by CDL land, probably going to launch in 2024.
Right.
So where is ACS is right over here.
Okay.
So this land plot is going to be where ACS International is going to move to. And there's already news articles, in fact, speculation, right, that prices that's around the Tengah area will definitely see an up trend in terms of the PSF movement.
Right.
So they'll probably be rising up to about 10 to 15% kind of like profit.
And
Prices.
there are two ACS. One is ACS Barker will still remain.
Right.
ACS
Yep.
International is moving.
Correct.
Yeah, and
So-
I think it's so interesting, right? I mean, schools, based on popularity with parents and like legacy schools, I think the key reason why this article is talking about 10 to 15 increase is really due to the popularity effect for
Correct.
school. Yeah, maybe when you can bring us through that street directory map, the elongated one that you actually, at the top. I was actually quite surprised when I was looking at this because just have a look at the different BTO projects, and interestingly, they all have their own brand names like Plantation Grange,
Right.
Plantation Village, and there's so many of them. 18,000 have been launched. It's already like so many projects. I was just trying to visualize if in future, the next 18 to 20 projects for private EC and new launches are going to be launched. Where will they be
It will
populated?
be in the forested area already because this is where the cutoff. So if you look at the whole entire URA master plan, right, this is Altura. So just now the street directory map is just only a snippet of this whole entire place. So this whole entire area is where the current vegetation is, and these are all going to be the future residential sites.
Okay.
So you can see that this is actually the ACS International. Right. So of course this is the polyclinic. Right. So this is the whole entire Tengah town center lah.
Right.
So this 6 plot of land, this will be the town center. And of course within this entire area, you will also be seeing mixed developments, which is going to be the next pinnacle of the private housing, private residential housing, because usually with mixed developments, we always see a more premium pricing
Right.
that's attached to that. So you're probably going to be seeing a couple of mixed developments going to be happening right there in Tengah as well.
And
Yep.
Tengah is called a forest town because there's going to be like 5 kilometers long, 100 meters wide forest corridor for hiking.
Yep.
And what else does it have? I mean, like, why is it called a forest town?
So I believe originally, if you look at this area, right, so this is the whole entire forested area.
Right.
And this whole entire forested area is going to become that whole entire orange color land plots, multiple of them. And we believe that in Tengah, it's also in Tengah the BTO flats where the government is also exploring all the recyclable energy, the centralized cooling system, where the BTOs over there are being offered the option of having a centralized air conditioning system that's going to be installed in a place.
Right.
Yeah, so those are the kind of like new initiatives, and also the car light town.
Car-free town center.
Yes, correct. So this is
approach.
the area where it's a car-free town center area. So this is where you have this whole entire green land that's transversing across the multiple land plots all the way down towards this whole entire new waterfront area.
Right. Awesome. And the town, I mean, like, it's as big as Bishan, but I think the way that it's structured, it looks like very kind of like centralized, and of course it's like there's a lot of symmetry. And I think the beauty is that it has like 4 MRT stations that's tucked so closely together.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like
You have your Tengah.
like almost every part like is sort of like walkable in a sense.
Right.
Okay. Let's talk about the rough launch pricing in terms of quantum price first, and then after that we move on to site plan analysis as well as floor plan analysis.
Sure. So I've done up in the usual manner.
Okay.
So I break it down into 4 different PSF, starting from 1350. Although we are hearing some sources saying that the starting PSF will be about $1,370 odd. So for the sake of discussion, I'll just round it down to 1350.
Okay.
With an incremental of 50 per square foot increase all the way to 1,005, which I think that will be the upper limit for Altura. I don't see it exceeding 1,005 PSF. So if you were to map that out, if you're looking at the minimum price of at least about 1.3 odd mil for a 3+ study, size is about 980 square feet, right? All the way to the 5 bedrooms of 1,005 square feet. You have probably, I believe you'll be in a range of 2.2 odd mil to probably about 2.3 mil. Yeah.
Right.
So this is basically the kind of pricing that we are seeing. And definitely if you're comparing this pricing versus a pure
New launch.
private new launch, you are definitely seeing a disparity.
Yeah.
And,
I think the key reason why Copen Grand as well as Tenet in Tampines was like fully sold out
right.
last year till end is because of this rising disparity. We also talk about this in one of our webinars. That so just to share with our audiences, if this is the first time joining us, disparity effect means that in Singapore, because we are land scarce, and there's only a few key kind of asset category for residential properties. You have your ECs, you have your private condominiums, whether new launch or resale. You have your strata landed, you have your pure landed. And then, of course, when we look at HDB housing as well, these are the few key options that usually citizens, PRs, or foreigners, of course, foreigners can only buy private condominiums. And when we talk about this spectrum of product categories, there are different seasons of movement. Sometimes a certain kind of category of asset will move up faster during the next 12 to 18 months. But once it reaches that speed, it will start to plateau a little bit. Then the next best possible option will start to move up to catch up with it. So an example, we just concluded our Poland Collection landed seminar last week at the Poland Gallery. We talked about the fact that from 2020 to 2022, the acceleration of inter-terrace freehold properties has accelerated very quickly. Now it's stabilizing in terms of price because, for example, brand new landed that is freehold is at least $5 million. But that then created a gap for the brand new 99 years to start to catch up for this year itself. So when you look at this range, what Wayne was trying to share in terms of disparity is that averagely, a new launch private condo is close to about $2,000 per square foot for OCR region, which is Outer Central Core, which we also means suburban condominiums. And if this is going to be launched at 1450, there's still like a $550 gap. And this, in this year, in terms of overall pricing, you're buying a brand new product, which you have to wait for completion maybe 4 years later in 2027. And then 2032, 5 years later, once you achieve your MOP, you can sell it in the resale market. And if you enter at 1450, by 2032, which is about 9 years later, just visualize in terms of like what will be the asking price of a resale condo be, right? So people that bought into new launches that are condos at about maybe 1,009 to 2,000, they will naturally want to sell maybe 2,003.
Yep.
Yeah. And if you enter at 1450, you try to match up to maybe 2001 to 2002, that's already close to a $700 to $800 jump for you.
Actually, just now we were discussing, I was asking Alfred the price for Lake Gardens, right? Lake Gardens announced price is already 1,008 PSF.
Yeah.
And that is the OCR area, which is pretty close to where we are for Altura.
Right.
So 1,008 PSF, you're looking at this, it's 1,004. So it's about $400 of difference already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how about the quantum? Like, what do you guys think about the quantum pricing?
Well, I think the quantum pricing is still something that's quite palatable. I mean, 3-bedroom, 1.3 mil is something that is really something that people are even buying in the resale market today. Yeah, just that this one, you just probably got to wait for another, well, 4 to 5 years before you can move in physically to stay.
Right.
But I think that the pricing is still in a very palatable quantum. Something that is not within out of reach lah.
Right.
It's just that, of course, we just got to factor in that because for EC there's always a income ceiling cap of $16,000 for the household income.
Right.
So this is something that probably when you reach that 5 bedrooms premium, 5 bedrooms flexi kind of quantum, that will be something that you probably have to make sense in terms of the down payment. Whether do you have the money for the down payment? Because I believe that in Singapore right now, the younger generation for loan eligibility is not a problem. I think the problem is always that comes from the down payment portion.
Yeah, because of the very fact that with the income ceiling,
Right.
the loan quantum is definitely capped at a certain range.
Yup.
Yeah, so anything on top is that unless you have sufficient CPF as a down payment
Right.
or you have more cash support, then the bigger quantum one will be able to make sense for you, right?
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about that difference between this and Copenhagen, because Copenhagen they have 2+ study.
Yeah.
This one, the smallest unit will be 3+
3
study.
plus study, right? But Copenhagen, if I were to pull out the past transaction numbers for Copenhagen, right? I've sorted out already. Copenhagen 2 bedroom. Did I put 2 bedrooms? Oh, I didn't put 2 bedrooms. No. Was it Copenhagen or Tengah?
Yeah, I think most developers for EC, they go into the strategy of doing
Oh,
out that
yes.
distribution with like larger units
Yeah.
because that caters to like families coming from the HDB market. Yeah, so I don't know, maybe Copenhagen was...
So Copenhagen, actually the 2 bedrooms unit, 2 plus study unit, there's only 14, it's about, there's only a very limited number of units. So if you look at the pricing, it's probably about 1 mil to 1.1 mil. So this is just only one stack. I still remember there's only one stack of 2 bedroom plus study.
Right.
And the PSF is also about 1,003 to 1,004. But in terms of quantum wise, it's something that's definitely is easy to swallow. It's entry level. Thereafter, once it hits into the 3 bedroom premium, then it basically shot up to the 1.2 to 1.3 million dollars mark.
Yeah, so even though they have, but I think it's a very limited quantity.
Very, very limited. So they only have like one stack. I still remember one stack of 2 plus study.
Right. Let's have a look at the distribution for Altura.
Altura distribution is right over here.
Yeah, okay. And then maybe let's move on to the site plan as well. So you have like 180 units of 3 beds plus 3-bed premium, in the sense that the premium comes with the home shelter, and then they all come with study room. So you have about 180 units, and then let me go back to the previous one. Let's look at how many units are there. The previous chart, Win.
Okay, previous chart here.
360.
Yeah, so you have 4 bedders, which is about 135 units, and then 45 units of 5-bed premium plus flexi. Maybe Alfred, bring us through the site plan analysis in terms of facing all that.
Sure. So the entire project has got a facing of a northeast or the southwest orientations, and then we have a total of 6 blocks of 16 stories per block. So the entire when we go for the bigger unit layout, for example, when you go to the 4-bedder, 5-bedder, that is also where you have a bit more of the inward facing, right? And then you also have a further distance between blocks as well, right? Now, so when we go towards the entire right hand side of the project, that is where we have a more outward facing for that stacks on the right hand side, and that is a facing at least have a 7 level stories of existing car park as well. And then if you move further down south, that is where the 3-bedder premium will be facing the existing residential development. So therefore, when we go down again towards bottom south directions, towards where the main entry east, that is you will have a future bus stop that is coming up. All right. Now, then when you move towards the right-hand side, that is where you will be facing the Bukit Batok West Avenue 5 main route. Yeah. So internally, between blocks, okay, from the stacks of the 3-bedroom premium to where the residential block is, as well as the car park is, you have at least 27 meters, 21 to 27 meters apart. So that is actually a very comfortable gap, so that you don't feel too close to where the car park and the residential block is.
Right.
Yeah. Now, then for the 5 bedrooms,
In fact, I have the plan for the HDB that's opposite us.
Right. So towards the side, that's actually facing towards a multi-story car park.
Correct.
So of course, for that part, you just need to take note that if you go for lower floor units, then sometimes you definitely will see into the multi-story car park. So that's something that you need to take note of. And that, of course, depends on your comfort level. I'm not sure whether do we have like the distribution chart to see which level they're starting from.
Yes, I do have.
Okay,
it.
so while we are bringing up the distribution chart, maybe just to share with our audience, usually how do you look at a site map? Is that you try to hunt for the largest unit first. Largest unit, usually developers place them with the best facings and the quietest facing. Because in land dense Singapore, we all know that either you're facing a road, you're facing a future development, you're facing a future high rise. It's not easy to get a quieter facing. So most of the time when they structure projects in modern towns, they give like the 5-bedders, the biggest 4-bedders to face the best facing. So as you can see here, stack 2, 3, and 21, they are 5-bedders. They face internally towards the pool, and they have the facing of the green lawn. You also have that large version of the 4-bed flexi facing internally, stack 11 and 12.
12,
Yeah. So this is an example of how you can actually look at the site plan at a glance, just to hunt for what is presumed as one of the better facings by the developer. Yeah. Okay, so there's actually ground floor units, right?
There's level 1 unit. So basement parking. So you have car parks that stretches all the way to your blocks. So there's no more multi-story. So this is all 1 to 15 levels. So the 15 top floor level will be the penthouse units.
Okay. Maybe let's have a look at which stacks will be facing the multi-story car park, just to share with our audience, like in terms of stack facing direction.
If you were to compare this versus, I believe
it will be the
14,
stack 14, 15.
14, 15, even 18, 19 will be facing towards the multi-story car park. Because if I were to map it out over here, there'll be about 1 block that's on the front part area. But that is also where the loading and unloading bay to that particular block will be. That's actually block number 432A. Yeah. So the car park will actually be at the back. So if I were to map it back to here, probably about, I would say, safely about 14, 15, 18, 19.
Okay, let's go to that loading unloading bay. So something to take note for our audience is that when you see the loading unloading bay, it's better to go now to the actual site. This, I presume, this has been completed already, right? This is the existing.
This should be Westscape should be completed already.
Okay, go down and see whether that loading unloading bay is also the rubbish collection chute or not. Yeah, so if you are going for like low floors, you need to take note of like small little details like this, because I mean, even though we always say that, and we believe that every property can be sold, because, for example, if there's a so-called like not so premium facing, but there's still ways to position the property, and some buyers might not mind in future. But of course, if you want like a hassle-free exit in future in year 2032, you don't want like your future buyers to come in and say that, hey, you know, you're facing the loading unloading bay of the opposite HDB and stuff like that. Then these are things that you might want to take note of. And every facing has plus and minuses. Some people, even though you might think that pool facing is very premium, but maybe some buyers might say that it's very noisy because of kids on the weekend playing by the pool and stuff. So pros and cons. But generally, things like this, loading, unloading, you have to take note of, which might spread to stack 22, stack 23 as well, because that's overlooking towards that the HDB at the side, right?
But I think one thing you good to know is that actually rubbish, the refuse collection point is actually right here.
Oh, okay, so it's not affected.
So it's not affected. So this is purely really just for loading and unloading, that's all. Probably the car park lots that is being zoned as loading and unloading.
Okay, then I think that's pretty cool. Okay. Stack 21, if you're going for 5-bedder, just to take note that it has a slight west facing. So west is coming from diagonal left. That means that if you go for Stack 21 or Stack 24, if you're at a higher level, there will be like a tilt angle west sun coming into your balcony and sort of the bedroom. So just to take note of. If you want to like play safe, not to have any west facing for 5-bedders, that will be like Stack 2 and Stack 3. Stack 11 is totally cleared as well. Stack 12 should be pretty safe because only your side wall and the back, one of the bedrooms at the back gets a little bit of that facing. Maybe Alfred, come from, we just go bedroom by bedroom type. Let's say for bedroom, 3-bedroom, which 2 stacks are your top 2 favorite stacks? If let's say you were to be buying it for yourself or your family as a family that needs a 3-bedder.
Yeah. So in fact, me and my wife, we have talked about Altura because our MOP is reaching soon at the last quarter of this
For
year.
yourself, like for real.
For real. Okay. Yeah, correct. So I have intensively discussed that with her.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So we have for 3-bedder premium plus study, we have a Type C1 and Type C2.
Okay.
Personally, I feel that I would prefer Type C2 because the main thing, if we look into the difference, it will be where the kitchen and the yard is. So for Type C1, you have the kitchen and the yard that is together on the same side. All right, there is no segregation. Whereas for Type C2, you have a segregations between the yard as well as the kitchen. So for family who have the daily habit of doing a slightly heavier cooking, that is where you will prefer to have a segregations between your yard as well as the kitchen. Yeah. So apart from that, the remaining the spaces between the rooms or the living rooms, all these are not too much of a difference. Yeah. So this is for 3-bedroom premium plus study.
But which stack will you go for if you were to buy one today?
I will have to go for I will go for Type C2.
Which stack?
Okay. Which stack?
The C2 will be the dark brown version.
You go for C2 lah because of the yard lah.
Yeah.
I will go for C2. Wow.
Okay, so maybe when Alfred is looking, Ray, how about you? Which stack will you go for? Whether is it C1 or C2? Which?
19.
19 why?
I'll go for 19 in high floor. I'll clear the multi-story car park because I know that there's definitely a buffer between the car park already and the nearest block.
Okay.
Right. And in terms of facing wise, orientation wise, I'm not facing the road because that's going to be a small road. Plus the fact that it will also be northeast facing, so I already siam the evening sun.
Okay.
Yeah, in a way. So of course, 14 will be not too bad as well, but just at 14, probably if if that project has a lot of tennis lovers, then every other day you'll probably be hearing quite a fair bit of like noise coming from the tennis court.
Right.
So in my opinion, after I eliminate away all the possibilities, then I think 19 will be the better choice.
Okay. I personally, if let's say C1 and C2 is maybe the yard is let's say not a crucial condition for me and my family, I would take like Stack 6. But of course that is contingent, which at this point in time I don't know what CDR will build on the other side. Yeah, most likely usually towards side-by-side projects, they will try to, most developers try to build like the amenities around.
Right.
Maybe they will plant in a tennis court there, I'm not sure. But I think for my preference is that sound, road noise is quite a crucial thing for us. So I think I would sort of like select Stack 6 to be the first choice. Although I actually wanted Stack 24 because it's the same facing as the 5-bedder, but the site is a little bit too near to the entry and exit point, so there might be some like road noise coming in and out and stuff.
Actually, one thing to note, right? Also, if you look at this site plan, right, you will also be thinking where will and how will the vehicles be entering and exiting the development, right?
Right.
It's actually by that little grey color strip over here. So this is actually all the vehicles will come in via Bukit Batok West Avenue 8 Road, and then they will turn right. So once they turn right, they will just go along that stretch of road all the way into the basement parking.
Yeah.
So which means that there might be some certain level of acceleration or deceleration. So if you are going for stack number 22, 19 or even 18, right? So this is the part where probably if you are the low floor facing, then
And the ground floor also.
ground floor as well, then you probably will be seeing quite a fair bit of vehicular movement in front of your house.
Right.
Yep.
How about you, Alfred? What's your favorite stack for C1 and C2?
I will prefer stack 19. Yeah, because currently my own house, I'm already facing the multi-story car park as well. Even though it's the last level of the multi-story car park, so more or less, me and my wife are already quite used to that. So stack 19 will not be a problem, but this time round I will want to go for higher floor. At least I clear the 7-story clearance.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at the multi-story car park. At the top, is it like a
They don't have the
greenery?
plans for
Okay.
the multi-story car park, so I don't. For this is the HDB brochure
Okay,
though.
never mind.
Yep.
Maybe later we go to Google Earth. We just have a look. Okay, so let's talk about the 4-beders now. Yeah. So 4-beders, how many types are there, Alfred?
So same thing for 4-bedder. We have a 4-bedder deluxe plus flexi, and then we have a 4-bedder premium plus flexi. So let's talk about the deluxe first. So for deluxe, we have a type D1 and type D2. So the main difference is also the segregations of the yard. Okay, and then as for the entrance, the main door entrance, the moment you go in, you'll be facing the dining as well as the kitchen. So whether is it type D1 or type D2, it is the same main door entrance facing you that you will get.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think D1 and D2, they all have the same layout in the sense that the living and dining is the so-called like what we call the narrow version that is facing towards the balcony. If you prefer like the more, I would say, wide kind of landscape version, then you will have to go one tier up to D3, 1432 square feet, which is about 200 square feet more. That will give you like a larger zoning. You can even plan in like a bar counter for a triangular hosting kind of layout. So this is what we call like a more premium living room. And you also have a junior suite, a little bit like what do you call dumbbell concept on the left hand side as well. So maybe coming back to the D1 and D2 layout, since the difference is very minute, right? What are some of the key stacks that y'all will be looking at? Maybe Wayne, how about you? Which stack will you choose?
Well, I will choose the. I mean, I like that junior master being on one side, because that will means that there will be a certain level of segregation in terms of even family members. So if you have parents that are staying together, you can have your parents staying in a junior master area, while the rest of the family members be staying in the main unit area. So that will basically be limiting myself to stacks number 11 or 12. So 11 and 12, both of them are all, we call it the southeast facing units.
11 and 12. Okay, so that means you want to go for the bigger one, D3.
The premium.
Yeah, the D3,
You
which
wanna
is
go
the
for that one,
premium.
okay.
Right.
Okay, what if you only have the budget for D1 and D2?
Okay, then in that case, I will go for stack number 7.
Stack number 7.
Right.
Okay, why?
Pool facing.
Okay.
And the belief that I'm just right beside the 5-bedroom unit.
Okay.
Right, and that is basically the most premium view.
Okay.
Right, and I'm overlooking towards the 50 meter slab pool. Right, I can easily go for the lower floor units. I can enjoy the water scenes and stuff like that. I don't have to go
Right.
high rise.
Right. Okay, awesome. How about you, Alfred?
Because there is only one choice, because I want to have the segregations between the yard and the kitchen. So my only stack is actually stack 9.
Okay, so your focus seems to be a lot on the yard.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. So stack number 9 is the only stack with 1216, which is about 10 square feet more. The rest, of course, there's no other choices for D2. So of course, for our audience is that if you're hunting for 4-bedder and you don't want to go for D3, you want to stick to 1002 plus, then if D2 by the time your choices are out already for balloting, then I think stack 7 is good. If not, the rest of the choices will all be along the right row. Just need to take note that stack 13, 16, 17, 20, if you go for very, very high floor units, you might get some tilt angle west sun. Yeah, so if you want to avoid the afternoon sun, then go for mid or maybe slightly lower level. Stack 10 will totally avoid the west sun directly. Maybe you will just get a little bit towards the side of one of your bedrooms, right? Okay. So last but not least, of course, we have that 5-bedder, which is what we have covered just now already. And maybe for this portion, let's move on to the next segment. We want to talk a little bit on like the generic master plan as well. Maybe we can blow out the master plan, and then we do a finalization on the pricing on what might happen in future.
So of course, if you're looking at a master plan, so this is basically the Bukit Batok master plan, of the whole entire development lah. So as we all know, on the right side of Bukit Batok, which is more towards the Hillview area, there's lots of development work that's going to happen over there. The rail corridor and all the nature connection stuff. And then on this left side where Altura is located, then of course you have your new train lines as well as also new housing estates. But what we are seeing is definitely there will be an influx of new residents coming to Tengah. You have also an existing pool of brand new HDB flats from the Bukit Batok that's going to MOP or already MOP. And these will be the buyers which will be essentially you're buying and competing with you for a spot in Altura. So I think that in the whole entire larger scheme of things, we are definitely in an area where you are in a mature estate. Because you're in Bukit Batok, you get all the amenities and facilities. You are pretty much well connected to the expressway. Plus also the fact that you are benchmarking yourself and anchoring yourself against the rest of the other new boys that will come into the new town slowly over the few years. So in terms of your price movement, in terms of from an investment angle, from an own stay angle, in terms of size, I would say that the 3 bedrooms, at least I'm not seeing an 800 plus square feet kind of 3 bedrooms.
Right.
That's what you see in some of the new launches today. You're getting quite a good size, decent size of 980 plus square feet. You get the option of going to a 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms. Quantum level wise is also pretty palatable. Talking about minimum price of $1.3 million. Yeah, so I would say that the whole entire master plan, the development area, definitely you're anchoring to that redevelopment of the Jurong area. You'll be having a spillover effect into where Altura is located.
Okay. I think we have one more thing to talk about. Thanks, Wayne, by the way, on analyzing like the overall generic one, which maybe when you can blow up that portion about the fact that this is like a PPVC with flexibility.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So while Wayne is blowing up that, and I think that is very crucial because it allows for more flexibility. Coming back to the overall BTO as well as this like first mover thingy, I think is that when we look at the BTO projects that has been launched, it seems to coincide with your MOP for this as well. Yeah. So like the 18,000 units BTO that's been launched, if let's say they take averagely about 5 years to build, or 4 to 5 years, plus another 5 years, that'll be 10 years later, 2033. If your EC at Altura, TOP in 2027,
Right.
you MOP in 2032 thereabout, you prep your home for sale. By the time 2033, 2034, you're going to have a fresh batch of HDB families that if they want to sell, they are ready to buy. So I think thereabout it sort of coincides because if let's say you were to go for later projects, then later projects might hit its MOP later, maybe 2034, 35, 36. So I think if you are in a season of like maybe in a contemplation stage of whether and let's say if you qualify to go for a resale HDB, a BTO HDB, and an EC as well, your income ceiling, your down payment is there, and you have already done your in-principle approval check with the bank, then I think this is like a choice that you can seriously consider because there is like also a new town effect. You're starting from scratch with everybody. The demographic is going to be different. People coming in maybe in their mid-20s to early 30s, they get married. By the time 10 years later, even if they have owned a BTO, they will be in their mid to late 30s or maybe early 40s. And that might be an aspiration stage for the HDB upgraders to want to buy something in the same region.
Right.
And we always talk about the familiarity effect, right? Is that by that time, a lot of family have their kids that are already studying within Tengah, within Bukit Batok, and they want to remain in the same area. Yeah, so they might want to upgrade back into the same area. Let's talk about the last 2 points.
Yeah, so if you are familiar with, if you watch our channels, we always talk about some of the new launches or some new projects nowadays that is all going through the PPVC kind of like construction method. So PPVC, in a layman term, it means that you're stacking up the floorings, you're stacking up the units, just like a Lego bricks. Kind of
faster
like
construction.
So it means that shorter waiting time, faster construction, better cost efficiency. And right now, I believe Singapore have also invested, especially for the BTOs, the HDB side.
Prefab.
The prefab facilities in Singapore. So you can see that the government is focusing a lot on this kind of resources to make sure that they are able to control the cost. But when you talk about PPVC, it's always that you're not able to knock down the walls. Because everything is prefabbed. Right. So, but interestingly, when we got information about this particular Altura project, it wrote that PPVC system with removable walls for flexible space planning. And I think this is also something that we are seeing an increasing trend in developers kind of design of new launches. I believe one of them, the other one is actually TMW Maxwell. We talk about flexi kind of like space. So stay tuned for the other channel video on that particular project. But when we talk about space planning, this is something that developers is actually going into right now because of space constraint. But yet, people's lifestyle is also changing as well. So people love to have that kind of space where they can actually change and reconfigure their layout.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like a flexible option. Actually, it's actually like innovation, right? It's like
Yeah.
PVVC. I mean, in the past, it's always like you cannot knock down walls because only
Correct.
on block projects you can.
Yes.
But this is really like sort of like an innovation kind of thing. So what are some of the walls that actually can be configured?
I mean, of course, if you look at just take a look at the 4 bedrooms, this flexi kind of layout. So although there's some like tin walls, I believe those grey ones are those that you can't knock away.
Yeah.
And probably these white color ones will be the ones that you can actually remove.
Yeah.
So you probably can even take away your flexi, increase the whole entire living hall space, right? Or you can merge your junior suite with your living hall space to create a even much more bigger
Yeah.
living hall space. So those are what you can do. But of course, in a flexi, even a developer will have also come in and share with you like what are the kind of like different kind of design that you can create for that flexi room. You can turn it into a helper's room, a music corner, a walk-in closet with dresser. So those are the different kind of elements that you can actually think about lah. So you can even convert these 2 bedroom 2 into flexi into 1 room as well. Yeah.
Something to note about the 3-bed study is that the 3-bed study, maybe let's have a look at that
Yeah.
3D.
Sure. 3-bed study. This is the one.
Okay. So something to know about 3-bed study is that it's not really like a full-blown study room because of the fact that I think developer also want to give everybody like a yard space as well as a home shelter, which I think the home shelter is very important because then you don't have to worry about really your storage, storeroom and things like that. This is like a study. I will name it more like a study corner, but I think the plus point, even though I feel that it might be a little bit squeezy along the corridor, but I think there's a 3D image. I think the plus point
3D
is that
image looks like this.
there's a window, which I think that is like sort of like the complementary point, because though you're along your walkway towards your bedroom, you still have like a separate kind of study window towards that.
Yeah, just go. You all continue can talk.
Yeah,
Let me
so
pull out
most
the study.
Okay,
This
I think
is the
that-
one.
Okay, so there's like a separate window that's overlooking
Yeah.
towards your AC latch. Because most of the walkways, if you notice, is
Just walls.
There's no just walls. I mean, there's no windows one,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So this is like something that is pretty unique in a sense as well.
Yep.
All right, great. Any final points you want to share?
I think this is something that I believe I mean, personally, I feel that the uptake for this project is going to be very similar to Copenhagen, TNET,
Right.
at launch. So we are definitely seeing a lot of spillover people who can't get a unit in Copenhagen that will be looking at this. In fact, actually, I was involved. I mean, I was in a Copenhagen show flat. I was transacted, help a client bought a unit there as well. So I was serving a couple of clients there who are not ready for Copenhagen, and they were saying that actually it's okay. I'll just wait for the Bukit Batok EC that's going to come out,
Right.
which is Altura. So people are already waiting for this project already.
Okay.
Yeah, correct.
Awesome. Alfred, any final words you want to share?
Yeah. So personally, if I were to come in from the buyer's point of view, I will, and if I have the budget, I will definitely want to consider between the 4-bedder premium or even the 5-bedder, right? So, however, there is also some sense of contemplations because right beside Altura, next year you might have another EC that is coming up. So I think buyer may have the tendency of sitting on the edge, not knowing whether they should really want to make a move or not. Yeah.
Has the land plot been sold already?
So yeah,
So
CDL already got it already.
what is do we have the break-even price?
I don't have.
Okay.
H prop don't.
It's
doesn't
not
have
out
that.
yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not out
Yeah.
yet.
So I think you are right. Maybe let's say if for buyers that are not really urgent, they might want to wait for next year. That
Yes.
seems to be like a slightly
Yeah.
larger plot. Maybe it's going to be have more units. But I think this project will really suit families that maybe you don't want to burst through the 500 units density. You just want something
Yes.
300 plus.
That's right.
Right.
Full facilities. There's
Yeah.
a tennis court, basement parking, and of course that's my favorite. I usually prefer projects without multi-story car park. You really want to have the basement parking serving all the lobbies, and
Right.
I think it's easier for your family.
Right.
So I think this will suit a certain category that is ready to commit this year.
Yes.
Okay, so if you are going for the balloting, I wish you all the best. And of course, if you have any questions, you want to chat with any of our consultants, you can always go to our website at PropertyLimBrothers.com. And of course, you can just chat with us on our hotline, or we also have like a system on our website that you can just chat directly with our consultants as well. So we wish you all the best on Altura EC, and we hope to see you soon. Take care.
Take care.
But we have to wear here, there.
You know what I mean?
Okay. All right.
All right. Good job.
Great, man. Thank you. Hey, can we have a
Ayo.
What are you laughing about? Okay. How was it? Okay?